Pulling up one time for the one time. I'm so excited to be here. Under these circumstances, I don't know. I don't know. Y'all was waiting for me to say something? All right. How could he not be guilty? I mean, right? You popped up. I said, let me see. Hey, y'all. Okay, so boom. What's good? What's good? Y'all already know what it is. We're going to get into this Tory Lanez verdict today. This just in. Damn, that's how LA. What you talking about? Now my baby daddy in the comments trolling already. We just got started. What's up, y'all? I told y'all lawyers you had the cases so wrong. All right, boom. So let's get into it. So, LA, yeah. Okay, that is how we get down. So, 2 days before Christmas, Tory Lanez has been convicted of all three charges in which he had pending, right? So Tory Lanez was charged with discharging a firearm with gross negligence, assault with a semi-automatic firearm, and carrying an unregistered loaded firearm in a vehicle. All right, now the big one here, the big ticket item in this case, the felony is going to be the assault with a semi-automatic firearm, right? So Tory is facing up to 22 years in prison. In addition to that, he is also facing deportation because he's not from here. He's from Canada. Someone says, does Megan have a case against the blogs for defamation? She may. So defamation, especially when it comes to a celebrity, you have to prove that the blog gave out false information, right? And they intentionally did it, and they didn't care whether or not the information was true, right? And so that's kind of how defamation works. There's a lot of elements to that. She may or may not have a case, right? It's just going to depend on some of the context in which people were talking and all of that. So we will see. It's crazy, right? 2 days before Christmas, okay? 2 days before Christmas, and Tory Lanez is now in a Los Angeles County jail. Being from Los Angeles, knowing how raggedy Los Angeles County jails are, I don't wish that on nobody. 2 days before Christmas, right? Baby daddy, I see you talking about he's going to appeal. He will likely appeal. But coming from somebody who has been fighting a wrongful conviction for the last 16 years, I can tell you right now that appeal will take some time. When you appeal a decision in a criminal case, you are arguing that your constitutional rights were violated during the trial, which basically means that there was some part of the procedure, the criminal procedure that occurred, that basically like it was out of bounds. He was out of bounds. Like, y'all not supposed to be doing this in trial, right? Maybe like the judge made a ruling that was against your constitutional rights. Maybe a jury member did some foul, right? But it has to be something that is within the transcripts of the case, right? And so if it's not within them four walls, you're not arguing nothing about the, let me move my computer. Can y'all hear me okay? I'm gonna move my computer real quick so I can see y'all better, so I can see the comments better, because it's out of balance for me and I can't take it. I feel like I'm looking everywhere and I need to be looking in one space. Give me about 2 seconds. Somebody said, who, the Shade Room? Shade Room don't care. Y'all gotta be careful. This is the thing. Everybody was an internet lawyer this week. Everybody and their mama was an internet lawyer this week, right? But the reality is that lawyers are lawyers. The jury had what the jury had. The lawyers did their thing in trial, and the jurors basically, they agreed with the prosecution. A man who is not guilty don't send all kinds of apology texts after the fact. Well, that's debatable, right? Because we don't necessarily know what he was apologizing for, right? So it's never been stated that he apologized and said, oh, I'm sorry for shooting you or anything like that. He just apologized for the situation. Now, there's so much that happened in this trial that a lot of people are like, there was so much reasonable doubt, right? So first of all, one of the big things was Kelsey's testimony. Kelsey was very inconsistent in her testimony and the things that she said when the situation first happened compared to what she said on the stand the other day, right? That was like a lot of reasonable doubt for a lot of people. That was reasonable doubt for a lot of people because nobody really put the gun in Tory's hand. But here's the thing, and this is what got me about Kelsey's testimony, is Kelsey testified and said, well, I didn't see Tory shoot, or I don't know why I said Tory shot, right? But that would have left either you, Kelsey, or the driver to have been the shooter in this case, right? Because there was only 2 other people that could have possibly have shot that gun. Mind you, Kelsey got immunity. As soon as Kelsey got to court to testify that day, she was like, I'm not testifying. Okay, this is what I'm hearing. Now, we got a lot of third-party information because, and it's hearsay really, but we got a lot of third-party information because they did not allow cameras in the courtroom during this trial. But long story short, short story long, Kelsey got up on the stand and said, I'm not saying nothing. I don't want to talk to nobody. I'm not playing with y'all because, well, I'm not trying to get in trouble. Y'all already got who y'all said y'all wanted to get. I ain't trying to be caught up in this, so I'm not testifying, right? And so at that point, the prosecution said, we will give you immunity. Now, initially, my understanding is that she did not get full immunity, right? She got immunity enough to where basically there's different levels to immunity, right? But her immunity was basically like, look, we're not going to prosecute you for nothing you say on the stand today. Whatever you testify to right now, we will not use this against you or to press charges against you or anything like that, right? Thank you so much for buying badges. Thank y'all so much for the gifts and the donations. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all for sure. And I'm working on 3 different systems right now, so just bear with me, right? But yeah, so she basically got use immunity. Exactly. I think somebody said in the comments too. Yeah, use immunity, which means they can't use what she's saying right now. They can't use it against her. But her lawyer came back and was like, that ain't good enough. That ain't good enough because we already know what kind of questions you're going to ask her. And so we're not going to play this game with you. So my understanding is that although they didn't give her like full blanket immunity, right? They told the judge, like, look, judge, we ain't finna bring no charges against her. We're going to go ahead and let her say what she needs to say. However, even with that, she still pled the 5th when it came down to the statement about who shot or Tory making a statement about, oh, I'm a shooter or something to that effect. When you plead the 5th, you can only plead the 5th to something that has to do with you that may get you in trouble. Okay, you can't just go into, otherwise when people are called to testify in cases, everybody could just get up there and be like, I plead the 5th and I ain't finna say nothing. I ain't talking to the police. I can't help none of y'all. That's not how it works. When you plead the 5th, that means whatever you may say could still potentially be used against you. It could be cause you to get in trouble. Like you could be sitting you be the next person in that defendant chair if it happened. And so she refused to answer questions with regards to what was said in terms of, oh, I'm finna shoot or something like that. But yeah, it's over with. So Tory is facing up to 22 years in prison as well as deportation. He'll be sentenced on January 27th. So it takes a while. The judge is going to review, the notes. He's going to review. I'm not sure if the judge was a male or female. I believe it was a male. But the judge will review everything. He'll look at Tory's record, right? And he will decide what is fair, what a fair sentence is in his mind based on the evidence, right? Based on what occurred, what he believes is an appropriate sentence for Tory. So Tory will find out his fate on January 27th. As of tonight, he is a Los Angeles County inmate. Someone said, if Tory was so innocent, why inmate? Someone said, if Tory was so innocent, why didn't his lawyers just throw Kelsey under the bus? I mean, I know we don't know everything due to the trickle of information. So boom, long story short, short story long, they did. Okay, the defense's argument was that Kelsey is the person who shot this gun. And things were reported were not necessarily what was stated. I agree with that. Everybody wasn't telling the truth. So let's just keep it a buck, right? People were coming out and reporting what happened in that courtroom. They were reporting it based on their own biases, right? Which is, that's how the media does, right? But when you have someone, you're hoping, right, that someone with an appropriate legal background or at least an appropriate journalism background will be neutral, right? But people chose sides in this case, right? This case was very heavy in the streets, right? It was a lot of public opinion about this particular trial. And it was a little confusing because we didn't really know what was going on, right? We had people that was missing, right? So people were saying that Meg's bodyguard was missing, and then come to find out in the middle of jury deliberations today, her bodyguard popped out. Right? So the message came out in the middle of jury deliberations. Her bodyguard pulled up and testified. Now, on that part, right, people was like, oh, he was missing. How come he didn't pull up? How come the prosecution didn't subpoena him? Why did they send him a subpoena and say, you need to pull up, right? Because you're the one who received these text messages from Kelsey. And in order for us to bring these forth, bring them into court, right, without them being objected to as hearsay, we need you to come validate this. We need you to come validate what you received. I believe that Tory had his own personal driver. Somebody's asking about the driver. I do believe that it was Tory's driver. But I have a lot of questions, right? Because nobody came and told us, like, well, how did Meg end up getting to the hospital after she got shot? Did she get back in the car with the people she thought, like, shot her? Did everybody go in the back of the police car? Like, how did this work? There's so many questions, right? There's so many questions. And then when it comes to Kelsey, people are asking if she could be charged with perjury. Absolutely, she could. She could. If the district attorney decides they want to charge her with perjury, they could do that. Are they going to try their luck with that? We don't know. We don't know. He's facing up to 22 years. Yeah. So a lot of people are saying that Kelsey's testimony gave reasonable doubt. It did, but I think one of the major deciding factors in this case was, I think his name was Sean Kelly. Sean Kelly is, I guess he was a resident in the Hollywood Hills, that these people were in front of his house or around his home when this incident occurred. And what Sean Kelly came and testified to is that, what Sean Kelly testified to was basically that he saw two women fighting, right? He saw two women fighting, and then some shots rang out. But what he said was the short guy was the person with the gun. And the jury asked the question, they asked for a readback. And a readback means basically they go back, because in every criminal trial, you have a court reporter. And the court reporter, word for word, she's typing word for word that everybody say, right? Which is why it's really, everything that happens in the courtroom is really strategic. You'll hear people say, for the record, right? For the record. Can you do this for the record? Because we can't see what's going on. So the court reporter has to report all of that in her notes. So she is typing word for word. Thank you guys so much for the badges and the gifts and the donations. I really appreciate y'all. And so on the record, right? So they had everything on the record, right? So he came and testified that he saw a short man, he saw the short guy shoot. And so the jury asked for a readback of that. So when you do a readback, you go and read back the court reporter's notes. That was probably an indication that the jury, they was somewhere like, oh, okay, hold on, this ain't seeming right? Like something about save this life when you're done on here. Oh, okay, I will. Thank you. That means that the jury probably had it in their mind, like, hold on, what did he say, right? And the thing about Sean is he was the one witness who really didn't have a dog in the fight, right? He don't know these people from Adam. He was at home. My understanding is he had a family. He probably was trying to protect his family. You know, this is Hollywood Hills. Los Angeles is a lot of areas that can get a little ghetto, especially in Hollywood. But that part of Hollywood, they not used to that kind of action out there. So he probably was looking like, what is going on? And you see all these black people, right? All these Negroes that you ain't never seen around here. Thank y'all so much. And it's loud and people arguing and people are fighting. I believe that Sean's testimony was the testimony that probably was the straw that broke the camel's back. Because prior to that, there was a lot of reasonable doubt, right? Nobody had placed that gun in Tory's hand. No, other than Megan, right? And a lot of people were apprehensive about Megan's testimony because they like, she been out here lying. Okay, sis, you lied and said you wasn't messing with him, right? You lied and said you didn't get shot, you had glass in your foot, right? You just lied. You just lied. So we don't know if we believe you, right? That was one of the big things. But understand that Meg was like, that's their main witness. That is the victim. You know what I'm saying? But even still, people was not kind of really siding with Megan on this. And then it came down to it. Sean pulled up and said, I seen them girls outside scrapping. And when they was scrapping, I seen a little man shoot the gun. The little man is Tory. Sean put that gun in Tory's hand. That's all they needed. Now, Tory's family feels some type of way about Sean's testimony, and I'm finna tell y'all why. So, after the verdict was read, right, my understanding is it was extremely chaotic in that courtroom, as chaotic as it could be in a courtroom, because judges don't play that. And as a former JA, I didn't play that either. You wasn't finna be getting loud in my courtroom. You wasn't finna be talking to my judge no kind of way in my courtroom. Okay, if I say don't walk in the well without asking for permission to walk in my well, you walk around, that's what you do. I didn't play that type of stuff when I was a JA. I ran my courtroom with an iron fist. So depending on who the JA was, it was, we can speculate on how crazy it got in there. But basically, Tory's dad was like, "Hey, peep gang, when Sean came in here, he our witness. He came in here. He didn't even talk to our lawyers, right? He didn't shake their hand. He was acting funny." Somebody said, "What's a JA?" Let me explain that. My bad, because y'all know I just be talking. So a JA is basically the clerk, right? So depending on what courtroom you are, there's normally two clerks. So there's a clerk that will like check you in. In a criminal courtroom, you normally don't have a clerk. You don't have a clerk. You have a sheriff, right? Because they bringing in inmates and this, that, and the third. But the judicial assistant, the JA, that's the person that sits right next to the judge. That's the person who like checks you in, right? They call the case. That's the person that reads the verdict. That's the person that's handing the notes and stuff. That is the person that has to manage all the evidence and stuff like that. So that's the judicial assistant. My bad. Yes, Sean was supposed to be the witness for the defense. However, what Tory's dad said after the fact is like, he didn't even speak to us. And so at that point, he was like, "Oh, what is going on here?" Right? Like, I know you not playing. I know you're not playing with us. And so Tory's dad feels some type of way about that, because now he like, what, like, before you even came, like before this whole situation, we didn't hear nothing about that stuff that you have been talking about before, which is very interesting to me, because if you're a defense attorney, right, if this was your witness, why you didn't prep your witness before they got on the stand, right? You're supposed to prep your witness and know what they gonna say before you put them on the stand, right? So for example, this happened in my brother's case. So in my brother's case, for example, the victim's brother was actually one of our witnesses, right? And so when the defense attorney went to go talk to the victim's brother right before he went to testify, he was acting funny. And so our defense attorney was like, he not saying the same stuff he had said when I talked to him the other day, so we're not going to put him on the stand, right? So my thing is like, well, what, like, did you not prep your witness? Or did you not talk to your witness before you got up there? Because what you don't want to do is get blindsided by a witness. And I truly believe they were blindsided. I do believe that the defense was blindsided by what that witness said when he got on the stand. I do not believe, because you would not call a witness to the stand that is going to say that your client had that gun when your argument this entire time has been that Kelsey was the shooter. And y'all was doing good. Y'all was doing good with pinning this shooting on Kelsey, putting the gun in Kelsey's hand, up until Sean came up and said, well, it was the little guy. It was the little guy, right? So part of the issue with trying to like break this apart is like, we don't really have everything that he testified to, right? So the different people that were in there, they gave us their versions of the story that they felt were appropriate. So we really don't know. You know, we don't know how deep they got into it because, you know me, I'm asking questions. Okay, so you sure it was a little man? So did you just see a short person or did you see a short man? Right? Okay, well, what did that man have on? Could you make out what he had on? Did you hear him say anything? Okay, well, where were the two women, right, when this happened? You know what I'm saying? I'm asking all kind of questions. Okay, well, have you ever wore glasses? Do you wear glasses? What's your vision like? Is it 20/20? Right? Because as an eyewitness is not always accurate. Like, eyewitness testimony is not always accurate because as people, we don't really know what we're paying attention to until we realize what we need to pay attention to. Right? And so you cannot take eyewitness testimony as God, because if a shooting pop out, right, and you weren't expecting that shooting to pop out and a car speed by, you know what I'm saying, and it's a dark car, you may have thought you saw a black car because just real quick, split second, right? Kind of find out the car was blue, right? But the next person who's seen the car drive by too, they're going to be like, it was a burgundy car. So you have to be very specific. Like, you got to get into your eyewitness testimony and be like, okay, well, let's dig into this a little bit. Is your vision straight? You know what I'm saying? Like, are you sure? But what you do right after? Now, this was the other thing. Apparently, the detectives did I'm trying not to use foul language, but I'm going to tell you right now, LAPD, no disrespect, because my stepfather is a retired LAPD officer, but they be slipping sometimes. They be slipping on their pimping. And it sounds like the detectives that night didn't do everything they were supposed to do. First and foremost, they did not test that gun for Kelsey's DNA. Now, this is the one issue that I have with this verdict, is that apparently they did not find any male DNA on that weapon, right? Somebody said it was a Ring video. I don't know if they played it or if they could get to it or what happened. They should have been able to get to it on the cloud, but apparently they did not find Kelsey, or no, they didn't test Kelsey's DNA. Now, Kelsey had gunshot residue on her, right? Because she was in the car at the time that the shooting occurred, which to me is suspicious. Because how was you in the car, but you and your homegirl was out the car fighting? Y'all was outside fighting. So that lets us know, oh, Kelsey and Meg had beef. Because if y'all were just outside of the car fighting, because if that's what that man saw, right? And Kelsey was outside fighting with Meg. If it was two women fighting, we know it was two women in the car. It's two women fighting, right? At least. And Kelsey, y'all was scrapping, and then Kelsey end up back in the car, baby. That's suspicious to me. That's reasonable doubt to me if I'm a juror, because I'm like, I thought you was saying you and Meg was cool. I thought y'all said the beef wasn't with you, the beef was with Tory. So sis, how you end up back in the car right when the guns ring out? Right? Why y'all didn't test Kelsey for DNA? Or why y'all didn't test that gun for Kelsey DNA? When y'all didn't find any male DNA on that weapon. That means somebody's DNA was on it because somebody touched it. Right? Somebody's saying my bias is showing. No, I'm not being biased. I'm addressing all different sides of the case. That's all I'm saying. I don't have no dog in this fight. This ain't my case, and I'm not finna be dealing with y'all talk crazy to me because y'all know I'm a real one. But anyways, I'm not being biased. I'm asking multiple questions, right? Because again, I am pointing out where there is reasonable doubt. Now, another thing that we have here, right? What'd you say? Exactly. I'm just presenting the facts as I got them. I wasn't in the courtroom, right? So I don't know. Anything could have happened. But we didn't get all the information that we probably should have got, right? Nobody dug into that. Nobody dug into what the witness actually saw, what Sean actually saw, right? Okay. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Somebody said the diversity of the jury. So my understanding is that the jury was made up of, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was 7 women and 5 men, if I'm not mistaken. 7 women, 5 men. I do know there were 4 black jurors. Of the 4 black jurors, 2 were young, right? A young woman, a young man, and then an older black woman and an older black man, right? Yeah. So that was the makeup of the jury, right? So as far as the nationality of the other jurors, we don't know. But somebody touched that gun. So if you don't find male DNA on the gun, then you need to be figuring out whose DNA is on this gun. So I think that if this is true, LAPD dropped the ball on that in that sense, right? Again, everyone is like reasonable doubt. Now, this is another thing to me, and this is just me personally. Y'all did this right before Christmas. Right before Christmas, right? So for the last 2 weeks, these jurors have been sitting in trial right before Christmas. To me personally, that's dangerous for any defendant, especially when you have a case as messy as this, because I want to go home. And one thing I could tell you about juries are very unpredictable. Thank you, Simone. Christmas matters. The timing of this matters, in my opinion, because I want to go home as a juror. I want to shop for my family. Okay, I already don't want to be here, especially if I had to take off work. Not everybody's job pays you for jury duty. Okay, you have to find, and it is very hard to get out of jury duty. Like, people, you could sit there and say, I don't like the police all you want to. And my judge, when I used to work in the courtroom, my judge didn't care. He was like, okay, you don't have to like the police, but can you be fair? And he would press you. I have had people be like, I don't like the police. I don't care. I'm going to go against the police anyway. And my judge would be like, are you sure? Okay, well, what about this? What about this? So it is not easy to get out of jury duty, right? So now you have 2 weeks before Christmas. People already struggling, especially in Los Angeles County. Okay, people, not every job will pay you to do jury duty. They don't pay you but 15 cents on the dollar to do jury duty. Okay, so you're not making your money back. You got to find, somewhere for your kids to go. If you got kids, you got to figure out who's going to feed your husband. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got no car, you got to figure out how you're going to get to court every day, right? It's so many factors that went into this. However, this outside stuff, anything outside of the courtroom, you're going to have to bring that up on a habeas, baby. Because you're not going to be able to argue that in an appeal. In an appeal, only thing you could argue is my constitutional rights was violated, right? Y'all picked a biased jury, and you better hope your lawyer objected to stuff, because if it ain't no objection on the record, don't be trying to argue that. Don't be trying to argue that, because the court ain't going to have it. They're going to be like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't on the record. So when it comes to him filing an appeal, it is going to take appeals are lengthy. Okay? You don't file an appeal and think you just going to challenge the sentence. Or challenge the evidence. Allowing the entire Kelsey video up. Well, see, that's going to be a thing. And honestly, and Simone, I know you're actually an attorney, right? I still got one more semester left of law school, but I didn't study enough criminal trials, right? But I would ask you this too, like, the fact that it sounds like the bodyguard came and testified in the middle of jury deliberations. I'm wondering if that's an appealable issue, right? Like, to me, I would be like, hold on, case was closed. We did our closing arguments, right? Like, we didn't did that part. So, what is he pulling up for? We never heard from Kylie. I don't think we heard from Kylie because, for the most part, Kylie probably would have just been able to testify to like a character witness, more so, to say the least, right? To testify to how drunk were these people, right? Because, mind you, alcohol is a big factor in this entire case. So what Kylie, what you want to know is, like, how drunk was everybody, when this whole thing went down? Because you're asking people who have been drinking alcohol, partying, this, that, and the third, you're asking them to tell you what happened during this event. And I don't know about you, but, like, have y'all ever been drunk? You didn't party, And then you be like, oh, I thought that's what would happen, but then you run it back, you go see the video you took that night, and you be like, oh, that's not what had happened when I was out there kicking on. I thought I reacted like this, but then you go back and see your Instagram story, and you be like, oh, I did that, oh, right? So, again, that's kind of like what Kelsey, right, changing her statement and being like, I don't know why I said that. I don't know why that happened. I don't know. That's girl, because you was lit. But how lit were you? How much did you drink? What did you drink, right? Let me see. The fact that the prosecution asked for a whole week delay and that was the reason defense chose not to call him is interesting. Not sure how that would be evaluated on appeal. Right. That too. That delay, right? I would argue that. I would, you violating. That's not due process. We weren't prepared for that. What happened? You know? So, it sounds like he did testify, though. Will they be able to bring up his pattern of violence up during sentencing? No, it's not really relevant to this. It's not relevant. Didn't Kelsey say the short man fired in the air? No, I don't think Kelsey said that. I'm pretty sure Sean said that. Thank you. Someone said, I love how you break it down. Thank you. But yeah, so if there was no DNA on the gun, how was he found guilty, though? That has me confused. Okay, well, it's easy, because if I had the gun and before I got out the car, I knew this was going to happen, I'm wiping the gun off. So just because you didn't find my DNA on the gun don't mean that I didn't touch it. It just means I got to it before you did. You see people, all of you, y'all watch movies. It happens all the time, right? You see you didn't touch the weapon or you touched the door or somebody done broke in your house. What they do, they wipe everything down so they can't get the print, right? Because they need a full print to be able to do an analysis, right? So I'm wiping it down. You ain't finna catch me. You ain't finna catch me slipping. And the gun wasn't registered. Now, in sentencing, they can bring up old convictions and his pending case. Okay, so I guess Simone is she's an actual lawyer, so they can bring up. So I thought it's only if he has already, like, if he's already been convicted of something. Can they bring up pending though, like pending stuff in his sentencing? Because I thought they couldn't do that. Thank you, Isaac. Whose gun was it? We don't know. My understanding is that they never clarified whose gun it was. Some people were saying that it was alluded that it was Tory's driver's gun, right? But it sounds like, if my gun is unregistered and it got some kind of body on it or a situation on it, I'm not claiming that. Why would I claim that? If I wanted to claim the gun, I would have registered it. Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's what I thought. If you have been convicted of a previous crime or, something like that, you didn't plead guilty or something, then they can use that against you. Thank you, Isaac. But if it's something pending, they're not going to use that against him. Oh, thank you. My necklace. Yeah, my little Tiffany chimes. Thank you. Was Tory not taking the stand a mistake? So you're always running a risk when a defendant goes to testify, right? Because you don't know. Thank you guys so much for buying badges and sending gifts and stuff like that. I really appreciate y'all. You don't know how the prosecution is going to attack your client, the defendant. And you may get up there and say something you don't mean to say. I'm telling you, a lot of people struggle with public speaking, right? Tory ain't coming back to America after this. People struggle with public speaking. Imagine your entire life, right? Your life, your freedom being on the line, and some stranger who don't like you and want to see you go to jail is pressing you in front of 12, 14, 16 people you don't know, right? You might say something you ain't got no business saying. Or prosecutors, especially if they a good one, they may trip you up into saying something you ain't got no business saying. Because your lawyer can't save you at that point, right? They could try to, during redirect, they could try to, clean it up or whatever the case may be. But if you mess around and say something that the jury hear that they ain't got no business hearing, So a lot of times defendants do not testify. Now, the reality is that juries want to hear from defendants, right? Because they want to hear your side of the story, right? Most jurors don't understand how the legal process works, right? They just know it's some stories being told, and how come everybody but you is telling your story? Why you don't just come up here and tell us your story yourself, right? Why don't you do that? But the reality is because I don't want the prosecution to ask me a question that I don't want to answer, right? Or I don't want them to ask me something and then I don't have the right response after that, right? Like, you tripped me up and I didn't say something I didn't mean to say, and it's not necessarily true, but the way you get me to answer that question, now the jury looking at me funny like, we knew it was you. So it depends. You weigh your options. They would have asked him whose gun it was. They would have asked him, if I'm a prosecutor, I'm asking you, whose gun was it? Okay, well, if you didn't shoot, who shot? Kelsey shot? Okay. Well, why you didn't do nothing with Kelsey shot? Why you didn't stop Kelsey from shooting? Right? Now, I do think that the funny thing in this entire situation is that Kelsey got immunity. Right? Kelsey got immunity. And I heard some commentators bringing up the fact like, well, how come they didn't charge him with attempted murder? Because I have seen people shoot guns in the air, get 25 to life for shooting a gun in the air for attempted murder. So that was kind of brought up too. But I think that at the end of the day, that would have opened up a whole can of worms that nobody really wanted to deal with, if I'm being honest. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I don't know. Didn't she like Kelsey? I don't know. People's stories change all the time, right? You remember something one day, you don't remember it the next day. Mind you, this was 2 years ago, okay? This is 2 years ago. 2 years ago. This happened 2 years ago, and they were intoxicated. And it sounded like they was extremely intoxicated, like they was drunk. And these are young people, okay? These are young people. They are in their 20s. Right? Now, as grown as these folks look, they in their 20s. Paige asks, would I be disqualified from a jury because of Joe? I don't think so. It depends on what trial you're on, and I don't think it would disqualify you, but if I'm a prosecutor and you have a loved one who's incarcerated and you don't feel like they should be incarcerated, I'm kicking you off my jury. Goodbye. Honestly. So I'm be like, they not finna rock with me. There was an assault charge. He was convicted of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. So that's the same as like assault with a deadly weapon. The only thing is a deadly weapon can be anything. A deadly weapon can be your foot. A deadly weapon can be your hand, right? In this case, it was the firearm. Wait, why they wait so long to go to trial? Wasn't it supposed to be in the first year? So you never, so with trials, they can happen at any time, right? So when the case is charged and the DA files the charging paperwork, files the complaint and say, hey, we're finna bring this person to court, right? We're finna arrest them and we're gonna have we're gonna see if this goes to trial. There's a lot that goes into that, right? So you have preliminary hearings, you have investigations, there are motion hearings, right? And then depending on what court you're in, trials get pushed back a lot. And for example, in my brother's case, like his second trial got pushed back like a year. Right? Because sometimes there's conflicts, right? Attorneys, be it the defense attorney or the prosecuting attorney, may have another case that they're working on, right? And they can't quite show up for trial at that time. Maybe the judge has some his calendar may not be available or whatever the case may be. So they may have to move it back. So there's a lot of different reasons why a trial may take long to come. But, you have, again, like I said, investigations and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Right. And courts are still catching up from COVID, too. They ain't never going to catch up. I'm telling you right now, courts was behind before COVID. So, COVID is an excuse. I'm being honest with you. I worked for the court in 2015. Courts was behind before that. So, the court's been behind. They're going to always be behind. So, there's a lot of different reasons why the case took so long to go to trial. But that sentencing not going to take that long. On January 27th. Yeah. So, yeah. There's so much we didn't see or hear that the jury had access to. That is true. There is a lot that we didn't see or hear. I think what we got from the outside, right, is like the main points that people felt like kind of stuck with them. So, there's we didn't get the full testimony of the detectives in the case, right? I think there was 2 detectives that testified in the case. I already mentioned this, but I'm going to say it one more time because I know a lot of people don't understand how appeals work. You are appealing that your constitutional rights were violated during the trial. Your due process right was violated, right? The judge didn't rule on a motion properly. Some evidence came in that shouldn't have been brought in, right? That is what you are appealing. Is the full court transcript available now? Likely not. It normally takes a while. So the full transcripts probably aren't ready yet. It just depends on the court reporter. And the witness brought by the defense also said he got out and joined in. I don't know what that means. Do you think they're going to get Kelsey for? I don't know. Yeah. An appeal it's not that easy. But the witness said he saw a girl go to the car and he saw that the girl shot first. Even if they shot first, so the issue in this case is that and this is where the court of public opinion becomes sort of an issue, right? Because trials are very strict in the procedure and how they go down. The issue in this case was not who shot Meg, not whether Meg was shot. It was, did Tory shoot Meg, right? So that doesn't negate the fact that maybe there was another person who participated, right? Because Kelsey got immunity and Kelsey pled the fifth when it came to statements about shooting, right? But the issue in this case was, did Tory Daystar Peterson, did he shoot Megan? And I believe that when Sean came and said, I saw the short man shoot, that sealed Tory's fate. In addition to that, I think that, again, he was the defense's witness, is my understanding. As a defense attorney, I would have talked to him and been like, okay, let's go over your testimony real quick. So you said you saw what? Because why you didn't tell me ahead of time that you saw him shoot? Because I'm not going to bring you on. If the prosecution didn't call you and bring you on to testify to that, I'm not finna call nobody that's finna say my client had that gun in their hand. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. And quite frankly, if I'm an appellate attorney, honestly, I'm arguing ineffective assistance of counsel if that happened. Because how do you justify calling, and again, we're getting this from the outside looking in, right? We're getting this from the outside looking in. Some of the stuff that we're hearing may or may not be true, right? I'm going off the things that I've been able to see and kind of putting pieces of the puzzle together from different sources. But I'm arguing, in my appeal, I'm arguing ineffective assistance of counsel because no, you did not. No, you did not bring somebody on the stand to testify that I shot the gun and you're supposed to be defending me. What was you thinking? That was not our strategy. Our strategy was, oh, girl shot the gun. Okay? Why do you think that they told Jaquan, the driver, not to testify? You don't really tell someone not to testify. You just decide whether you want them to testify or not. And whether what they have to say is relevant. Because Jaquan could be like, I don't know. Jaquan could be like, it was crazy. I was just sitting in the car. I was texting my baby mama. I was scrolling on Instagram. And the next thing I know, shots rang out. Right? So there's a lot of reasons. Why wasn't he called? I don't know. But again, it goes down to strategy. But I think what a lot of people are concerned about in this case is like, it was reasonable doubt. And so I guess it goes to say like, well, what is reasonable doubt to you? And again, like I said, 2 days before Christmas, I just don't think that was smart. I'll be honest with you. I don't think that's smart for any defendant, especially with something this messy, especially with a case that's so inconsistent. Yeah, I think the verdict is what the verdict is. I don't have an opinion on the verdict because I didn't hear all the evidence. The only thing I can do is speak from what I was able to gather. And yeah, that's all I can say. Like, I don't have an opinion because I would have to hear all the evidence. I would want to hear what the the battery on his last leg. Thanks for letting me know. Let me turn it. Okay, hold on. I might have to get back in. We might have to switch it up. It's okay. It's gonna survive for now. And if it don't survive, we'll figure it out. Okay? Sorry about that, y'all. But yeah. I don't know. And even what you've spoken on shows how biased a lot of news has been. A lot of the information that has been shared has been fairly biased. I will say that. I agree. It's been pretty biased. Yeah. It's been biased. But at the same time, on top of that, why does this look like this? I'm gonna turn this off because I don't like how it's showing up on here, honestly. I didn't even know y'all could see that like that. That is raggedy. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm gonna have to. I don't like that. It's okay. I'm not even about to deal with it right now because I'm gonna do something I ain't got no business doing. As a juror, they were drunk and being messy. I'm ready to go home. Yes. Thank you. Y'all, I live in Los Angeles. There's always police outside. I live in the projects. There's always police outside. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. I didn't even know y'all could see that like that. I don't even know how to fix it, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just got this camera, so I'm gonna have to fix it later because I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I don't know. People call me biased. I don't care. I'm not sure who I'm being biased towards. I'm just telling y'all from what I've seen. People say that public opinion played a major part. Perhaps, but jurors aren't supposed to be listening to public opinion. They're supposed to be listening to what's happening in the courtroom. So if you are making your decision based on public opinion, you out of lines, you out of bounds. And I'm asking you questions about that. How would I rate the complexity of this trial? No, the jury wasn't sequestered. I don't know how complex I would say it was. I just think that it seemed, for this to have happened 2 years ago, it just seemed like people weren't prepared to try the case. If that makes sense. Like, people just weren't prepared. And that's the part that's sticking with me. Somebody said, can you appeal the jury operating on public opinion? You got to prove that. How often do appeals flip a trial? I have no idea. I have no clue. Do I have the bug? I did not. Didn't mean to have that. I don't even know how that got there. I don't know how to fix it. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry y'all had to see that. I didn't even know y'all could see it. Y'all, this is like my second time going live on YouTube, and I tried something new, so that's what I get. Should have just stuck to what I knew, but I didn't, because my computer be acting funny sometimes. It be all dark, so my bad, y'all. But I will upload the live. I went live on TikTok and Instagram, so I will upload the live from TikTok and Instagram so you guys can see it better. I didn't know y'all saw all my business, so my bad, y'all. I'll learn next time. Yes, sir. And if the defense was not prepared, then the jury did go towards the way of what was shown in court. It sounded like both sides wasn't compared. Oh yeah, no, I'm on YouTube. I got one phone on Instagram, the camera on YouTube and then y'all on TikTok because y'all be playing too much and then y'all be getting mad at me. So I tried to get everybody involved today. I didn't want to get in trouble. No, I didn't. I'm sorry that y'all see me like this. I'm figuring out how to fix it next time, though. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. So, anyways, that's where we are with this, y'all. Was this a surprising ruling? There was no ruling. The verdict? A lot of people seem surprised, especially Tory Daddy. Tory Daddy seemed like he was surprised. And it sounds like Tory was very stoic when the verdict was read. You know, he didn't say nothing. If I'm 5'7", getting ready to go to a Los Angeles County jail, Was Meg required to prosecute Tory? Megan didn't prosecute Tory. The district attorney, the deputy district attorney prosecuted him. Meg is not a lawyer. So it was the Los Angeles County's decision on whether they were going to file charges, and they filed charges. I'm so sorry y'all see this. I'm so sorry, YouTube. And I want to log out and log back in. I'm going to do that. I'm going to log out. I'm going to end this stream for YouTube, and I'm going to log back in from my computer so y'all don't have to see this because this is ghetto and I hate it. So sorry, y'all. Why am I shaking? Because I have ADHD and I be getting I just shake. What are the chances of winning an appeal? It depends on what their issues are that are appealable. It depends on the appealable issues. It depends on the appealable issues. Yeah, you gotta figure out what issues you can come up with. I don't know all the evidence of the case. I don't know everything that happened in the case. So it's hard for me to say what would be an appealable issue or not. I would have had to been sitting there. So hold on, y'all, sorry. But I wasn't there, so I don't know, to be honest with you. But it's not, appeals are never easy. So victims are not required for the court to file charges. My husband brought up a Supreme Court case. There is a victim, but there are times when victims don't cooperate. And so even if a victim doesn't cooperate, if you know that, if you have enough information outside of that victim's cooperation to say that you can meet all the elements of a crime, you can still be charged. The DA can still go forward with their case. So yeah, I'm just joining someone. Update me, please. I will upload the replay so you guys can have it. Those of y'all that are just joining, I will upload that for y'all. Oh, it don't look that bad actually. I will upload that for y'all. That way, if you missed the beginning, then you'll be able to catch it later. I didn't say it to be mean, by the way. I just see you got a lot to say without saying it. Oh yeah, because I really don't have no dog in this fight, and I didn't sit through the trial, right? I'm getting third-party information. I'm getting outside information. I am using my knowledge that I have, that I've learned in law school, and kind of putting my common sense together to give you guys an analysis. But I don't have an opinion about the jury's verdict. Because I didn't hear all of the evidence, right? I didn't hear everything. So I don't feel like it's fair to give an opinion, my personal opinion. From the information that we heard, do you think Meg the reporter was biased or not? Who's Meg the reporter? Who's Meg the reporter? Will you have an opinion after all the transcripts? If I were to read the transcripts, I would probably have an opinion. Yes. But then again, as someone who is very knowledgeable, I would say one of my expertise is post-conviction. I know that a lot of things don't come out in trial, right? There's evidence that is not presented in trial. There, you know, you can find out afterwards that like witnesses were threatened or harassed, right? There's so much that could happen. So would I have an opinion? Absolutely. But then could my opinion change? Absolutely. Right? I have seen it with my own eyes, right? I've worked with these organizations, and I've seen it where you think something is some way, and then all of a sudden, right, 2 years later, another neighbor come and be like, "Oh, I didn't even know this case was going to trial, but my Ring camera caught this on the scene, right? But nobody came and talked to me." Or I reached out to I reached out to the police, or I reached out to the DA, and the DA said they didn't need my information, or they said that what I had to say wasn't important, right? So to me, so many different things can happen. So even if my opinion was one way in the beginning based on the trial transcripts, it could absolutely change, right? And I think that is why we have options such as appeals. That is why we have options such as habeas corpus petitions, right? Because things happen, and sometimes everything is not shown in trial. So we have to be aware of that. It happens way more than people think. There are a lot of people who are in prison right now for things that they didn't do, or because a prosecutor didn't turn over information, a defense attorney didn't investigate something properly, right? A witness was coerced, right? A witness was threatened with jail time because if they didn't say this, right? Or or a witness didn't say what the police thought they should say, so they weren't presented. So thank you so much. So there's so many other factors, so many other things that could come into play with this situation. So I would just say, like, you got to be mindful of stuff like that. But as a juror, the only thing you have is the stuff that both teams bring together. And when you are a jury, you are listening to two stories, right? And it's really, may the best story win at the end of the day. Period. I am a fan of both people, right? Both artists. I listen to both artists. And it's unfortunate that it came down to this, especially, it's just sad to see people go to prison. It's sad to see people be harmed as well, right? But I believe that she was harmed, and we know she was harmed, right? And she deserved justice. And that is what she got today, And that's just what it is. And you want to hope and pray that every attorney in this case did their very best to show the jury or present to the jury, right? But again, when it comes to a trial, it's who could tell the best story. And that's why they always say it's your version of the story, my version of the story, and the truth. And somehow you have to decipher both versions of the story and try to come to a truth. And the truth that the jury in this case came to was that Tory is responsible. He is guilty of all 3 charges. Someone said, is there a difference between what Sean did by flipping on the defense and what Kelsey did by changing her statement while on the stand? Well, I will say this. It sounds like Sean was not questioned about some things in the beginning that he perhaps should have been questioned about when it came to, yes, we're back. Thank y'all so much. I didn't know y'all could see that little raggedy stuff from my phone. So I'm going to upload the video from either TikTok or Instagram, but I didn't know y'all could see that. So I apologize, YouTube. It sounds like Sean wasn't questioned about certain details in the beginning, and that potentially led to him giving more information on the stand. But according to Tory's dad, the prosecution took Sean upstairs. They had a conversation, and then all of a sudden he flipped the script and his story was a little bit different. I don't know how that works, right? I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know if it's true, right? This is what we're hearing from Tory's dad. But as a defense attorney, if that's my witness, what is you talking to my witness about? That is not your witness. You don't need to be asking them questions before they get on the stand. If you wanted to ask them questions, you should have called them as a witness, right? So to me, if Sean was the defense witness, that is one of the issues that is like, that's one thing that's like not sitting right with me. Do I support bail reform? Absolutely. If we are supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, well then that's what it is. Find another way. Thank you. All right, dad can prove that allegation. He can't prove that man, well, maybe he can. I don't know. What was the evidence? I saw someone say on one side had way more evidence than the other. Well, the reality is that in a criminal trial, the prosecution has the burden of proof. The defense don't have to do nothing, right? The defense attorney could sit there with their hands on the desk and their head down the entire trial and do nothing. Say nothing. Question nothing. Bring no witnesses. They don't have to prove nothing. It is up to the prosecution to prove the case and prove every single element of each charge. That is the prosecution's job. The defense doesn't have to do anything. They are not, you don't have to defend yourself if you don't want to. You just sit there and be like, well, whatever. I think though, thank you so much. Yes, please like the stream. Please, thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all. I do think that the defense attorney was blindsided by that last statement, by what Sean said, because if your defense is that Kelsey was the shooter, you're not calling somebody to say that they saw the short man shoot. That you're not calling, unless the driver was short, right? Because if I'm the defense attorney, and because I believe the driver didn't testify, right? So if I'm the defense attorney and my witness say I saw the short man shoot, or I saw the short man with the gun, or whatever the case may be, I'm like, okay, but did you see this man sitting right here at the defense table? Did you see him with the gun? Did you see him shoot? Because you saying you saw the muzzle and you saw flashing lights and you saw this, that, and the third. I'm getting into the nitty gritty, and I don't know this defense attorney. I know some people who know this defense attorney, and from my understanding, he's fairly good, but we don't know all the questions. We don't know how he questioned the witness. But me, I'm like, so, but did you see him? Okay, you didn't see him shoot. You just saw a short man. Okay, well, did you see the driver? Right? I'm gonna make the jury. I'm gonna have the jury confused. Like, well, how? Because I need the jury to be like, well, how tall is the driver? Right? Who's the driver? What's the driver? Because the driver ain't here. Driver ain't testified. Right? So I'm at how long? Have you ever seen Tory's driver? Are they about the same height? Or what happened to the other man? What the other man do? Because my thing is that if there was, what was the driver doing? Because even in the videos where we see Megan get out the car, we see Tory get out the car, we see Kelsey get out the car, in that order, they never show the point where the driver gets out the car. Okay, define short. Then I would have been like, then the prosecution would have been like, objection, speculation, right? Objection, asking the witness to speculate how you can, even though that's their witness. Is it possible that Peterson didn't tell his lawyer everything? They starts dad seemed very shot. Yeah, that's very possible. People don't always tell your lawyer everything, but as a lawyer, whether you are a defense attorney or a prosecuting attorney, your thing is like, tell me. Because what I don't want to do is get up in this courtroom and then I get blindsided and we get shot because I don't know what's going to happen to you. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to get your money and I'm going home to my family tonight. You, my friend, you got a lot on the line. So you might want to tell me what I need to know before we get into this. I'm confused on how it's Jay-Z and Beyonce's fault according to his parents. So what I think is that Tory's parents believe, like, because Megan is now signed with Roc Nation. That is her label. Right? Now, y'all know Tory is an independent artist now. Right? I think he's been independent for at least 2 years, actually. Since like 2020, I think he was done with his label. So I believe that they probably think that, you know, the label had some influence on what went down. Now, this is the thing though. In the beginning, it was all hush hush until people like DJ Academics and all these blogs and stuff started talking about the situation. And from our understanding, what it sounded like, you know, if you guys saw Meg's live during that time, she like, bro, you got all these blogs and stuff calling me and saying this and that. Well, now I'm finna like put it out there because I wasn't gonna say nothing, bro. You shot me. I think that was the trigger, right? So Tory used his resources to try to get in front of the whole situation. Allegedly, I don't know if this is fact, but I'm just giving my, I'm just giving like what I think, or, you know, using my common sense. But like, if he used his resources, right, by going to the blogs and trying to get in front of it, well then Roc Nation won up on you because they called Gayle. They called Gayle King. And put Megan in front of the camera and let Megan tell her side of the story. And whatever side of the story that is, it is what it is. They put her on, right? They get, like, she got the access. You've seen her, like, doing her thing. And you can't be mad at her because her whole argument is, peep game, Black women are not protected when something go down. We always, like, when we get victimized, no matter who did it, what happened, whatever the case may be, we're always demonized for speaking up for ourselves when something happened, right? And so her whole campaign was, I'm going to speak up for women and Black women. Y'all know that Roc Nation, those are marketing geniuses, right? And I'm not saying true, false, nothing. I'm not taking no sides. I'm just saying if they played the game how they knew they needed to play the game to win this case, and it worked. Okay? And the thing about it is, we didn't hear Meg speak about it first. We heard the blog speak about it first. We heard academics speak about it early on, right? And then she finally was like, stop playing with me. Right? I just did a song with Beyonce. Right? She got Dua Lipa, all that stuff, whatever the artist name is. I don't think I pronounced it right, but yeah, right? Next thing you know, you see Megan with Hillary Clinton and her daughter, right? Then she has an op-ed in the newspaper. They did what they had to do to put her in position for her fight. Because that's their money. They didn't invest it in her. They did what they were supposed to do, in my opinion. It's a dirty game, but the game got played, period. That's what happened. So you could be mad at Jay-Z, but that is his investment. Because imagine the amount of money this corporation would have lost had Tory not been found guilty. Imagine the value of her stock, of Megan's stock. Megan is a brand. What she say? Support Black business, send me some money. She is a brand. So if they did do that, they protected their asset. They did what they were supposed to do. And it may not seem fair to one side, but this is what happens. Good news shows she didn't switch up. Man. From the start, industry sources were saying that Tory's people are reaching out to the blogs, spreading their own narrative that makes Meg look bad like Chris. Right. It's not weird for someone to say they didn't do it when they actually did it. Yeah. So, honestly, it is what it is. So, is he upset? Yeah, he's going to be upset. That's his child. He has every right to be upset. That is his child. His child is going to jail. 2 days before Christmas. Tory has children, right? We don't know yet. He may get deported. If he get deported, he can't come back. So, he gonna say that. He's gonna be upset. he's gonna feel attacked, right? He's gonna feel like the way the game was played was scandalous. Hell, the prosecution used a lying, raggedy snitch in my brother's case, who we all knew was lying, couldn't keep his story straight to save his life. Told 98,000 million, 11,000 million versions of the story. We thought that was foul, that was scandalous. But that's the game that they played. And we didn't know how to play the game against them at that time. So we lost. And my brother been in prison for 16 years for that. So we fighting now. So now it's a game. It's strategy. You feel me? No, I'm from Los Angeles. So it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? Of course his daddy feels some type of way. Any parent would feel some type of way if their child go to jail, especially if you believe that your child is innocent, right? Thank you, the honorable court. Right? Especially if you think your child is innocent, you're going to be like, every entity that came against you, you going to be hot. Well, he will go to jail first and then be deported. So whatever time he gets, he's going to, my understanding is he will do, I'm not saying all of that again. I'm so sorry. You're going to have to watch the run back. But he'll go do his time here. And then, hey, Dominica, hey, Daydreaming. He going to do his time here. And then he's going to go to, he may get deported. So we'll find out on January 27th what that looks like for him. Oh, yeah, no, sorry. Someone's asking about what about his own words asking for forgiveness. And please send questions so I can answer them. We're going to do this for about 20 more minutes. Because y'all know I could be on live all night. Y'all know me. Well, TikTok, no, for sure. YouTube, y'all just getting live action. Instagram, I'm shocked y'all messing with me tonight because Instagram be acting funny. But anyways, what was I supposed to be answering? My bad. Let's see. Oh, what about his own words asking for forgiveness? But what did he ask for forgiveness for, right? My understanding is we don't necessarily know that he asked for forgiveness for the shooting. He could be asking for forgiveness for the argument. He could be asking for forgiveness that all this just happened in general, right? Like sometimes, sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Things happen and you ain't never got into it, like, or, you know, it wasn't necessarily your fault what happened, but you feel bad for your friend, right? Like say, boom, P game, because y'all know I love an analogy. Boom, ready? Okay, so boom, P game. Your homegirl get played by her dude, right? Or by this dude she messing with. And your homegirl crying, she going through it. She sad, she depressed with the whoop. You ain't never called your homegirl and be like, baby, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for what happened, baby. It ain't got nothing to do with you. You not the dude that did her foul. You feel me? Or somebody, you know what I'm saying? Or your mama get into a car accident and she in the hospital and she going through it and she on medication and all kind of stuff. You ain't gonna pull up on your mom and be like, damn, mom, I'm so sorry you dealing with this, da-da-da. Right? So I'm just saying, you don't know. Exactly. He could have been like, yo, baby, you know what? I'm sorry that I was messing with you and your homegirl. Because that's, if nothing else, you sorry for that. If nothing else, you sorry for that. And period. You sorry for sleeping with both of them people. Because you knew you was messing with that other girl. And then you went around being messy and went and slept with Megan. Trying to get some clout. If you ask me. But like I said, people was like, oh, Meg, you know, she lied about sleeping with him. Meg also said it didn't happen if the wasn't smacking, so maybe it wasn't smacking. None of y'all have somebody on that you don't put on your resume? We grown. None of y'all have a person that was talking all that hoopla in the text message before y'all got it in. You went and got your little best Victoria's Secret. You went and got your little best Axe. Homie you went and bought brand new drawers. And then you pull up. And it's time to run the play. And now I'm running the play the way they were supposed to run the play. All that stuff they was talking in your text message was cap. And you ain't told nobody but maybe either one of your siblings, whatever sibling you gossip to, and your best friend. Them the only two people in the world I know besides you and that person. And it is not on your resume. You ain't claimed that to nobody else. Thank you so much for calling me pretty. Exactly. Thank you, Diamond. That's what I'm saying. Don't play. Don't play. Exactly. It didn't happen if Megan. That man is 5'7". Meg like 5'11". Okay, so boom. It was Megan. So she didn't have to put that on her resume. That ain't none of our business. It don't matter if she slept with him or not. Did he shoot her? Right, exactly. And these people are in their 20s. Let's remember that. I'm grown, I'm older. So at this point, even my baby daddy ain't on my resume, if you ask me. But I'm just kidding. Let me not do that because I know he was in the live not too long ago. And one thing about my baby daddy, he gonna call me out. So let me not play with myself. But still, it don't matter who she slept with. Oh yeah, my baby daddy love trolling me, y'all. That's the homie though. It don't matter. It don't matter it don't matter if she slept with him or not. So what? She didn't admit it. She didn't have to. Thank you. Love you too, boo. Thank you. Oh, Diamond, is that your twin? That's your twin? Hey, girl. So it don't matter. Okay? Look, somebody said I got friends who got kids and they ain't got no baby daddy. I'm gonna tell you. However this, but as an attorney was reasonable doubt not present. It depends on... Apparently the jury said no, there was no reasonable doubt. Right? And so this is how it goes. When you have closing arguments, what happens, this is like a formula. And I would highly recommend if you guys can. Thank you so much. Someone said I was beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank y'all so much for the gifts and the donations and the tips and all that. I appreciate y'all. I'm not trying to ignore y'all. I'm just trying to make sure I get my thoughts out and I answer the questions. But I am so grateful for all the donations. I appreciate y'all. What was I going to say? When you go to closing arguments, the formula is normally, because the prosecution has the burden of proof, they go first. And usually when they give their closing argument, the first thing they do is explain the law to the jury, right? So whatever charges you have, thank you so much. They explain the law and they'll give you the definitions as they want you to receive them. Now, the jury will still give jury instructions that will include certain things. But the defense and the prosecution normally, like, unless they're just like general jury instructions, right? There's some jury instructions that both sides will stipulate to, right? But the prosecution will say like, okay, this is the law, this is what y'all need to be looking at, this is how it fits, right? And then, so they'll describe like what reasonable doubt is, how you should think about reasonable doubt. And then what will happen is the defense will go and give their closing arguments. But the defense only gets one bite at the apple during closing arguments, right? Because they don't have the burden of proof. Prosecution has the burden of proof. Excuse me. So the defense will give their closing arguments and they'll say what they need to say. And then after the defense gives their closing arguments, then the prosecution comes behind them, right? Will come behind them and give their second part of the closing arguments. And a lot of times what will happen is they will refute things that the defense says, right? They will address things that they feel got left out. You know what I mean? So there's so much. So there may have been reasonable doubt, right? But clearly the jury didn't believe there was any reasonable doubt because they found him guilty. And the jury was polled, which means at the end, once the verdict is read, the judge would say, foreman of the jury, is this your verdict? Say one, say you all, and then they'll say, yep, this is my verdict. And then when the jury is polled, they will ask each juror individually, 1 through 12, is this your verdict? Juror number 1, yes or no? Yes. Is this your verdict? Is this your true verdict? Juror number 2, yes or no? Yes. And they will go through each juror and ask them, was this your juror? Was this your verdict? Now, I do know too, not trying to be messy, but I have seen situations where jurors got pressured in that jury room. And they thought one thing, and then they got punked one way or another, right? Somebody bullied them into changing their verdict. I have seen that before. Now, did they come out and say it when they got polled? No. But thank you so much for the gifts. But maybe during post-conviction, maybe during habeas petition or something like that, then it will come out that like, oh, I didn't really feel that way, but I had got bullied back there. Right? Like I had got bullied. And so I changed my verdict. I changed my vote. Right? I didn't really agree, but we was ready to go home. Not him, then who? If not him, then Kelsey. To answer your question, if not Tory, then Kelsey. But yeah, they'll come back later and say, well, I didn't really agree with that, but everybody was ready to go home and they was yelling at me, and then they said this, and then I changed my mind. But honestly, I don't think they did it. You know what I'm saying? That has happened. I've seen cases where it's happening. So you never know. Yeah, you never know. Like I said, thank you so much. I got it from I got my ring from a farmer's market. I love the farmer's market. Someone said, you're the truth queen. I wish you continue success in everything you do. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. So yeah. Is Tory stupid for not speaking up? Not really, because you do not want the prosecution to ask you something you don't want to answer. Can you say what your approach would have been if you were a defense? No, I can't, because I don't really know all the evidence that was available. I don't know like how they investigated. So yeah, I can't really say. Honestly, I can't say my opinion. Do you think he can win an appeal? It depends. Did all jurors have to vote guilty or just majority? All jurors. So in a criminal trial, every single juror has to agree on a guilty verdict. In a civil case, it's preponderance of the evidence. So it just means that more than 50%. What's up, Ellington? More than 50% have to agree. So if you got 6 jurors, at least 7 have to agree. But in a criminal trial, every juror has to agree, because the burden is really high, because you're taking away somebody's life. You're taking away somebody's rights. You know what I mean? So yeah. Somebody said, I can't wait to see Trump go to jail. Okay. We're going to be fighting that one for a minute. So yeah, when will sentencing happen? Sentencing is on January 27th. It is scheduled for January 27th. Case is all over, but the driver's statement killed him. Yeah, I didn't hear the driver's statement, so I don't know what the driver said, so I can't really speak on that part. But I do think that if nothing else, Sean Kelly, the witness who said he saw him shoot, I think that was the deciding factor. And the reason why I say that is because my understanding is that the jury asked for a readback. And when they asked for a readback, what they asked for was a readback of what Sean Kelly said. And I think that played a huge role in the decision. No, Tashina, I know that's not my mom. Everyone always say I look like her. She's beautiful, though. How could it go good? You don't have to have concrete evidence. You just have to prove every element of the crime. I doubt they do anything to him. The decision is based on him shooting in the first, but yeah, whatever happened to the bodyguard that went missing. My understanding is that the bodyguard came and testified like in the middle of jury deliberation. But I don't know what he said. I haven't had a chance to find any information that tells us what the bodyguard said. But yeah, do I think he guilty? I don't know. That ain't none of my business. He guilty now. Was this a quick jury deliberation for a criminal case? It depends, right? So in my brother's case, the jury deliberated for 4 days, but it also wasn't 2 days before Christmas, right? And the thing about that is that you have to stay there all day until you come up with a verdict. Or y'all can tell the judge 100% that y'all can't agree, right? So it was either y'all, like, and even if you are, like, say the jurors were split, say, right, it's 9 people are guilty and 3 people are like, I don't know. The judge would be like, we'll go back there and see if you can figure it out. Keep talking about it. Who wants to be arguing with a bunch of strangers right before Christmas when you're supposed to be spending time with your family? On top of that, who wants to come back here the Monday after Christmas when you done already spent your last 2 weeks before Christmas listening to some stuff that don't make no sense to you? So honestly, I do believe that the timing was bad. That I can say. I can't say who I agree with or like who I'm not on nobody's side, but I can say that I would never want to be a defendant 2 days before Christmas. Never. And I don't want to be a defendant ever, to be quite honest with you. But I'm just saying, like, yeah. It doesn't sound like the jury was sequestered. So, yeah. Can he appeal in regards to the timing of the case, like you said, right before Christmas? I don't know if that's really an appealable issue because it's not like a constitutional violation. If the court was open, then, hey, you had trial. And he's exploring all options, including appealing. Yeah, I mean, he should. You're going to advocate for your client. Oh, when it comes to violence, yeah, I choose a side. I don't think nobody should be getting shot. I will say that for sure. I don't believe that anybody should have got shot. Period. I'm not going to go through everything, but I will repost a live video so you guys can see what I said because I know a lot of people came in late. He has to appeal at certain issues. All the stuff that I heard him was brought up by his lawyer. I would say for sure, to me personally, the only, and again, this is just from the information I received, I would file an ineffective assistance to counsel if you called a witness to come and testify and say I had that gun in my hand. Because why would you do that? That's what I would say. If that's what happened. If that's what happened. At the same time, the court could be like, that ain't your lawyer's fault that the witness changed their mind. If when your attorney interviewed this witness and this witness said what it said, it's not on your attorney. It's not on your attorney that witness said something else. Right? So I would say that. Could his attorney have stretched it out past the holiday? I probably would have tried, honestly, if I was the attorney, if I was a defense attorney. I probably would have tried. But you got to think that attorney got a family too. A chance the judge gives a lesser sentence. Yeah, so the maximum is like 22 years and 8 months and then deportation. So again, the judge will look at a bunch of different factors to determine what the sentence should be. So it's up to the judge. Megan LeBron Twitter is the only reason I paid into this case. I gotta check to see who Meg the reporter is. I think he should have took the plea bargain. But if he thought he was innocent, why would he take the plea bargain? That's the issue with plea bargains, is that you have a right to go to trial. You have a right to a fair trial with an impartial jury of your peers. If you believe that you are innocent, you have that right to go to trial to do that, right? I do not think that your choice and freedom should be determined by a plea deal, right? So people say that about my brother all the time. My brother was given a plea deal for 9 years in prison, but my brother was like, why would I do 9 years in prison for something I know I didn't do? For something that you don't have any evidence that shows I did, right? The only problem is, what you don't know is that juries are unpredictable. You don't know them people from Adam, and them people don't know you. Right? You don't know them people. And then when you think about it, you have a bunch of people who don't know you telling your story for you to some other people who don't know you. Right? The judge don't know you. The prosecutor don't know you. Your defense attorney don't know you. Don't near one of them jurors know you. Half them witnesses don't know you. You have people telling your story for you and talking around you as you sit there in silence. And you are hoping that the person that you have hired or that you are trusting with your life can tell your story compelling enough to them 12 people that they don't know. Right? Because those attorneys don't know that those jurors either. And convince them that your version of the story is the right version. So it's a slippery slope when you have something like this. But do I think people should be subjected to, oh, well, you should just took the plea deal? Okay, if he was innocent, no, you should not have just took the plea deal. Now, if you know you did some scandalous stuff, or you know, I probably didn't do exactly what they said they did, but what I said I did, but I was involved kind of a little bit, had my hand in the pot. Take your deal, bruh. Take your deal. Take your deal, bruh. Because you're going to get it. But if you think you're innocent, then, hey, go to trial. I don't know all of the evidence, so I don't know. Well, I would hate to have my thing in a jury's hand. Yeah, the last thing you want to do is be in front of a jury. Oh, I don't remember that. I didn't see that. Happy Christmas Eve, y'all. What does it mean that the city pressed charges and not Meg The Stallion? Well, because the state is the actor that has to bring the case forward, basically. So, she can go and complain. So Meg would be the complaining witness, right? Yeah, he could have asked for a bench trial, but you taking real penitentiary chances with a bench trial. But so the state is the actor that has to bring forth the trial, right? Because they are the one that can prosecute criminally. We as citizens don't prosecute people, right? So the state is saying, like, that's why it's the state of California. Like, you came in California and you violated some laws out here in California, and we don't really appreciate that. So, P gang, since you violated the rules of California, bro, we all finna come get you. It's my birthday, and I will be right in this house reading law school. Happy birthday, Capricorn Nation! I'm a Capricorn too. January 8th is my birthday, so woo woo! And so sorry. Shout out to the law school Rose. I start school the day after my birthday, so I already know how it is. Law school ain't no joke, but it is what it is. We almost done. We just got to get it done. Once you're done with it, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But you may have to work on your birthday too. So it's all good. January 8th. Yep, Capricorn game, baby. As many factors as this, so we will see on sentencing. Right. So we'll see on sentencing. Right. What's up, Ellington? Okay, it's a bunch of Capricorns in here. I love it. I just want to state for the record, Tory does not represent all short men. We formally reject him from the short man congregation. We do not, I repeat, we do not shoot women. That's just him. So St. Ivan has spoke. Hey, what's up, club? Hey, sister. So St. Ivan, he said, on behalf of all short men, this ain't got nothing to do with us. He said, leave it, that ain't what it is. He said the 5'7", matter of fact, we're going to bring the little 5'9", the 5'9" and below. Said that's not how we get down. We know people be having Napoleon complex and stuff like that, but we don't really get down with that. We're going to leave all that violence and stuff to Napoleon and Tory. That's what St. Ivan just said. Said this ain't got nothing to do with all short men. It's just some of the short men whose screws don't hit. So, some of them missing a screw or two. With them inches, I don't know. I just do 5'9". Is 5'9" short? I don't know. What we gonna say? We're gonna say the 5'5". We'll start at 5'7". It's okay. 5'7" and below. 5'7" and below. They said this ain't got nothing to do with us. He was tripping. And they just want y'all to know. They want the ladies to know it's okay. You safe in the arms of a short man. You ain't gotta worry about it, okay? We know we like them 6 foot and up, but 5'7" and below. So we gonna protect you too. Just one bad apple. Just one bad apple. Well, him and Tink Tink, because Tink Tink, y'all remember Tink Tink, right? Tink Tink, I think he was short too. Bad apple, him went to jail for shooting his girlfriend. So him too. So Tory, Tink Tink, and Napoleon. It is what it is. She just snitched and she got every right percentage. Yeah, she did. Yeah. Somebody said immediately no. Short kings are out of style. Short kings are not out of style. Knock it out. This is another example of getting drunk. This guy can happen. Yes. What happened to Kelsey? Kelsey at home with immunity. Thank you so much for the gift. He shouldn't have tried to gaslight her, and that's by thinking she wasn't shot. Yeah, right? Somebody said dance. Yeah, Kelsey at home. Kelsey at home with her immunity. Now he can't get no plea deal now. It's over with. He finna get a sentence. Not no plea deal, a sentence. Okay? Sentence. Why do you think Kelsey asked for immunity? Why would she do that if she didn't shoot her? Because, and I explained this in one of my posts, but why she asked for immunity? Because it's probably something that she could have said that would have incriminated her too. Thank you, Profight. It don't necessarily mean that she was a person that shot, right? Maybe she knew what was going to happen. Maybe she owned the gun. Maybe she brought the gun. Maybe she handed the gun over. Maybe she didn't stop Tory from shooting, right? You could be an accessory on accident. Maybe she said, I don't, just in case, because I don't know the law, I don't understand the law, and I know y'all be a little sneaky, you feel me? And because y'all be sneak prosecuting people, peep game. I don't want to be involved, so I'm not going to say nothing. Right? Y'all not going to put that gun in my hand. His attorney over here talking about I did it. No. And y'all done found gunshot residue on me. No. How am I supposed to fight that? I'm not saying nothing. That could be why. We don't know. Will they get her for perjury? We'll find out if they file charges, but how does immunity work? It means that you are immune from prosecution. So that means that what you say on the stand, the prosecution cannot use that to file charges against you later. Right? Period. So that's where we at with it. Well, somebody said Tory isn't snitching, but he will soon. It's a little too late. It's just a little too late. Y'all remember that song? It's a little too late. You should have snitched in the beginning if that was the case, because you're finna go to jail, bro. You going to jail, bro. Period. So you should have snitched in the beginning. If you had information that could have kept you out of prison, you should have gave that information early and dealt with the streets about that later on. Let the streets could call me a snitch all you want to, but I'm not in prison. Am I a snitch? I didn't do it. And I didn't tell you to do it, and I didn't have nothing to do with it. So I'm finna tell. Period. I'm not going to prison. That's our problem. Y'all sat up here and listen to Diddy tell y'all stop snitching, and now look, prison's just chocolate factory. Majority of the prisons in California, a straight chocolate factory full of men. I ain't never seen so many black men in my life until I went to visit my brother in prison. I have never seen so many black men in one place in my life. I don't even think they got the Million Man March beat. Okay? And I ain't never seen so many black men in one space in my life until I went to a prison. So, with that being said, prisons look like a straight chocolate factory because y'all let these artists tell y'all stop snitching. Mind you, y'all listen to the same person who let his artist go down. Never mind, because I don't want him coming after me because I don't even know what happened really for real. I'm just saying, you gotta be careful. Somebody asked me what sorority I'm a part of. I love y'all too. Yeah, Michelle Alexander. I do like what's it called? The New Jim Crow. There's also a book. Oh, I love this book. I can't even think of the name of it right now, y'all. I'm tired. No, I'm not blaming Diddy. I was getting off court. I'm not doing Diddy like that because Diddy is smart. So don't let Diddy play you. I was being funny, but what was I gonna say? There's I can't even think of the name of the book right now, but I think it's a book that like every person should read and every law student should read. Why can't I think of the book right now? I don't know, but I'll bring it up later. Exactly. That's exactly right. He ain't never been caught doing nothing. He played the game the way he need to play the game, and that's why y'all know. All right. No, trial by jury. Boom. There you go. Somebody is a real hype because they know. They know my favorite book, Trial by Jury. Boom. But dude snitched on your brother equals, was he smart to do that in your opinion? Was he smart to take himself out of the crime and put my brother as him? Yeah, why not? Do I agree with what he did? No. He was smart because he got away with it. He did it in a way that was beneficial to him. Do I think that's the right thing to do? No. I don't. But he did it. He did it to get himself out of jail. He did it to get himself out of prison. And it worked. He has not done any jail time for any of the crimes that he's been involved in. I actually looked him up, and I've seen the number of times he's been arrested in multiple different states, and he has not done any jail time. So he did something to get that type of privilege. That's my honest opinion. Yeah, Trial by Jury is good, right? It's a good book. You should read it. So yeah. Where's who now? Sorry. I'm about to get off here in like 10 minutes. I know y'all tired of listening to me talk. I've been talking for almost 2 hours. I might have to pay people to get them off. Maybe. It's definitely, yeah, it's an easy read. Thank you for the love and the hugs. I appreciate you. Oh, I don't know. The last time I found him, he's actually in Los Angeles. The last time I found the last time I saw anything about the person who snitched on my brother, he was in Los Angeles trolling people, talking about, I'm outside, see me, I'm outside. Yeah. So, can't nobody touch him because everybody he snitched on in prison. Can Leslie be charged now for perjury is a question. Leslie or Kelsey? Yes, that's you, so you could argue 2-1. Wanted to come back after, yeah. Yes, I'm going to repost the live. My brother's doing okay. He ready to come home. Thank you so much. I appreciate for the subscribe. Thank you so much. I appreciate for all the new followers and subscribers and all that. That is so cool. How could you know that you are taking someone from their freedom that you know shouldn't get the time? I believe that those type will reap what they sow. Oh, they will reap what they sow, but there's scandalous people in the world. There are definitely scandalous people in the world. There are evil people in the world. We see it every day. So, but they will reap what they sow. Period. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. Thank you. I hope my brother gets out of prison soon, too. I'm praying on it. I'm ready. All right, y'all. With that being said, we've been on here for almost 2 hours. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me tonight. I will repost these lives. I graduated May 2023, May 19th to be exact. Thank you for asking. And yeah, thank y'all so much for pulling up. It was fun. It was real. I'm ready to go eat. Your girl is hungry. Thank you so much, Clubby. It was fun. I hope I answered most of y'all questions. And I'll be back. I can't wait to get my brother out either, baby. Because y'all ain't going to never see me again. I'm going in hiding, okay? As soon as my brother get out of prison, baby, I am going to go live with the monks. Okay? So, oops, now somebody talking about I won't be out till 2024. Ooh, I don't know that. All right, y'all. Bye. Have a great night, y'all. I'm out. I'm logging out. This was fun. I'm logging out.